All right, now I'm on the bottom of page 417. I got this extra space over here. This is where I'm going to show my work, but I'm also going to need to erase, okay? So let's take a look at, it says find the area of the figure. Let's take a look at the figure on number 2. Looks like I have a parallelogram here. So I'm going to need to find the area of that parallelogram. And I have a trapezoid on top of it. So I'm going to need to find the area of that trapezoid. I'm going to add those two areas up, and that's going to be my final answer. Okay, so let's do the parallelogram first. Formula for a parallelogram: area equals length times width. So the length, or I should say base times height. You're going to get the same answer, but let's be appropriate here. The base is from here to here, which they've said is 11. So I do 11 times the height. They gave us the height here, which is 8.2. Okay, so I know my answer is going to be close to 88. I have no numbers. I have 0 numbers behind the decimal on top. I have 1 number. This 2 is behind the decimal. So when I get my final answer, I'm going to move my decimal over 1. 2 times 2 is 2. 2 times this 2 is 2. Kiss that 2 goodbye. Hug it out. I got you, Nate. 8 times 1 is 8. 8 times the other one is 8. Add that all up. 2, 10, 9. So the area of this parallelogram is 902. Oh, Mr. Music, you forgot to put in your decimal. Goodness gracious me. Hello, Mr. Music. You put it right here. Okay, move it over 1. 90.2. Almost missed that. 90.2. I even talked about it before, that my answer must be close to 88. 902 is nowhere near 88, but 90.2 is very close to 88. Whew, too early. All right, so the area of this parallelogram has been found. It is 90.2. Okay, so let's find the area of this trapezoid. Formula for the trapezoid: area equals 1/2 times base 1 plus base 2 times the height. Okay, so 2 bases. Here's a base, 11. Here's a base, 8. So 1/2 times 8 plus 11, and then times the height, which they gave us the height. Let me erase some of these lines. They gave us the height here. Remember, we always use vertical lines. We never use slanted lines to find area. So the height is here, 4. Okay, if we add up the parentheses, we get 19. So now we have 1/2 times 19 times 4. Well, I'm going to do the 1/2 times the 4 first, because I know half of 4 is 2. And then I just need to multiply that by 19. 2 times 9 is 18. 2 times 1 is 2. Plus 1 is 3. So the area of this trapezoid is 38. And now we just add those up. Sorry about that squeaking. So when you're adding with decimals, you must line the decimals up. Okay, so 90.2 plus 38. 38 is the same thing as 38.0. So these decimals have to be lined up. Whenever you add or subtract to decimals, they have to line up. $38 is the same thing as having $38 and no cents, right? So we can put a decimal and a 0 behind it. It doesn't change the value of that number 38. So now we add. 2 plus 0 is 2. 8 plus 0 is 8. 9 plus 3 is 12. So our final answer, the area of the entire figure, 128.2, and it is millimeters squared. All right, so again, it's like one big problem with a bunch of little problems in it. So on your homework, there are going to be less problems. You know, you'll notice here, there's only 4 examples here, but within these 4 examples, we're doing multiple area problems and then just adding them all up. Okay, so let's look at number 3. We have a rectangle here, and keep in mind I'm going to have you do number 4 on your own, so make sure you pay attention, because if you know how to do 3, you'll be able to do 4 as well. Okay, so we have a rectangle there, so I'm going to be finding the area of the rectangle. I have a triangle here, so I'm going to find the area of that triangle, and I have a triangle here, so I'm going to find the area of that triangle. Now these 2 triangles are congruent, same size, same shape. So the nice thing about that is once I find the area of one of them, I can just multiply it by 2 to find the area of both. Okay, so really we could combine these 2 into one number, because we're just going to take the answer from here and multiply it by 2. Okay, let's get started. We'll start with the rectangle. Nice and easy formula. Area for a rectangle, length times width. 7 times 12. Okay, so that's going to be 84. Here's my first number. Okay, now for the triangles, we need to do area equals 1/2 base times height. Okay, height is easy, 5. Okay, now base is a little bit more tricky, because the base goes from here to here. So how are we going to get that? Well, like I always say, start with what you do know. Okay, we know, oh my goodness, this thing is killing me. Start with what we do know. I'm going to erase some of these lines so it's a little more clear. We do know that from here to here is 6. From here to here is 6. So, and we know from here to here is 12, and we've broken that 12 directly in the middle. So if we take 12 and divide it in half, each side is going to be 6 as well. So from here to here is 12. So the length here, or the base, is going to be this 6 plus this 6, so 12. Well, I know half of 12 is 6, and 6 times 5 is 30. So the area of one of these triangles is 30. And if the area of this triangle, these 2 are congruent, so the area of this one is also 30. And then now I just add those up. 30 plus 30 is 60. And then 8 plus 6 is 14. Did I do that right? Yes. Okay. So the area of the entire figure is 144, and it's meters squared. Remember, on complex problems like these, don't get overwhelmed with the whole thing, looking at the whole figure and going, oh my gosh, how am I ever going to figure out the area of this entire figure? Its shape's so funny, there's all these different lines. Simplify it. Start with what you do know. Okay, so let's look at number 4. I'm going to help you set it up, but then I'm going to have you do it on your own. So we have a rectangle here. We know the area of a rectangle. length times width. You have the length, you have the width. So you're going to multiply those to find this area. Okay, you have a triangle here. Look at this, is just one problem. Make it real simple. Say, okay, I can find the area of this rectangle. 16 times 6. Boom. You got that number. That part's done. Take your time. Start with what you do know. Okay, next, let's find the area of this triangle. Well, the area for triangle, 1/2 times base times height. Our base is 8. We never use diagonal lines to find area. So our height from here to here is given to us right there, 6. So now you're going to multiply these two numbers, divide by 2 to get the area of this triangle. Done. Finally, we have one more triangle up here. Same formula for a triangle. Area equals 1/2 base times height. Our base goes from here to here, and that number is given to us right here. So 16 times our height goes from here to here. So 16 times 8, and then you're going to divide by 2 or multiply by 0.5. So now you should have 3 numbers. You're going to have a number for the area of this rectangle, you're going to have a number for the area of this triangle, and you're going to have a number for the area of this triangle. And then you add these 3 numbers up to get your final answer. All right, let's look at this last problem, number 5. So again, I want you to do number 4 on your own, try to solve it on your own, and I can check it for you. Raise your hand if you finish it, and I can check it for you, see if you're on the right track. Okay, number 5, find the area of the shaded region. So again, I have a rectangle here, but it has some of it cut out. So first, I'm just going to go ahead and find the area of this whole rectangle, because I know I just need to do length times width. So I'm going to do 4.25 times 8.8. Since I'm multiplying, I don't need to line up my decimals, but I do need to see I have 2 numbers behind the decimal here. I have 1 number behind the decimal here, so I'm going to move my decimal over 3 places. This is about 9 times 4, so I know my answer should be about 36. Okay, but let's solve it exactly. 8 times 5 is 40. 8 times 2 is 16, plus 4 is 20. 8 times 4 is 32, plus 2 is 34. Okay, done with the 8, kiss it goodbye. Hey, no hard feelings, 8. Hug it out, 0 placeholder. 8 times 5 is still 40. 8 times 2 is still 16, plus 4 is still 20. 8 times 4 is 32, plus 2 is 34. Add this all up. And now move my decimal over 3 places. 1, 2, 3. And I can drop off these zeros along the back. 37.4, which is very close to 36. So the area of this whole thing is 37.4. Now, I'm not done, because part of this area got cut out. So I need to find the area of this little rectangle here that got cut out. Okay, so again, I'm going to erase some of these lines. I'm going to leave this number 37.4. Again, you never need to erase, just use your scratch paper. You can always get more scratch paper. Okay, so the area of the whole thing was 37.4. I'm going to set that aside for now. And now I'm just going to find the area of this little rectangle here. Okay, so it's just 2 rectangle problems. So I have area equals length times width. I got my length here, 4.25, so area equals 4.25. It gave me that. I said, look, this is 4.25. Okay, now they did not tell me the length from here to here, but they told me this whole length is 8.8, and they told me each one of these little parts is 2.5. Well, 2.5 plus 2.5 is 5, so this plus this is 5, and the whole thing is 8.8, so if I take 5 away, I get 3.8. So that means the length from here to here must be 3.8, because 2.5 plus 3.8 plus 2.5 gets me back to this whole length, 8.8. So now I have 4.25, the length from here to here, times the height or the width, 3.8. Okay, so now I'm going to work this out as a vertical multiplication problem. I'm going to erase again, you don't need to. So now I have my height, 4.25, times, or length times width, I should say, times the 3.8. Okay, I have two numbers behind the decimal here, the 2 and the 5. I have one number behind the decimal here, the 8. So I'm going to move my decimal over 3 when I get my final answer. So now I multiply the 8 times everything. 8 times 5 is 40. 8 times 2 is 16, plus the 4 is 20. 8 times 4 is 32, plus the 2 is 34. Kiss that 8 goodbye. No offense, 8. Hug it out. 3 times 5 is 15. So now I have to do the 3 times everything. Why is it acting so buggy right now? 15, carrying my 1. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. And 3 times 4 is 12. Add that all up. 7 plus 3, 4 is 11. 5 plus 1 is 6. And then I got to move my decimal over 3 places. 1, 2, 3, right there. So now I have 16.15. It's acting very slow and buggy right now. I don't know why. So I need to subtract. I cut this amount out. I found the area of this, and this is the part that was cut out from the whole thing. So I can add a 0 placeholder. I have to line my decimals up because I'm subtracting. Whenever you're adding or subtracting, you must line your decimals up. Okay, I can't take 5 away from 0, so I borrow. 10 take away 5 is 5. 3 take away 1 is 2. 7 take away 1 is 1. 3 take away 1 is 2. So my final answer, the area of just the shaded part, 21.25 or 21 and 25 hundredths, and it's meters squared because it's area. Oh, Mr. Music. I goofed up big time, didn't I? You probably saw this a mile ago. Okay. Oh, man. I can't believe I made that error. Mr. Music. Okay. We're going to keep one of the numbers. We're going to keep that 16.5. But this was the wrong area. You probably noticed that right at the beginning of the problem. Probably got a bunch of hands raised saying, Mr. Music, you made another mistake. Classic me. But I was looking at it, that answer did not look correct. It looked way too small, and it was. Because I used this number for the length from here to here when I found the area here. That's not the number I want to use. That's the length for just this little section. I wanted to use from here to here is what I should have done. So to get that number, I need to go back and do 12.75 times 8.8. Mr. Music. 2 numbers behind the decimal, 1 number behind the decimal. So I got to move my decimal over 3. I know my answer is going to be around 100. What is it? Around 108. A little bit bigger than 108. That's my estimated answer. 8 times 5 is 40. 8 times 7 is 56. Plus 4 is 60. 8 times 2 is 16. Plus 6 is 17. 8 times 1 is 8. Plus 1 is 9. Kiss that 8 goodbye. Hug it out. No hard feelings. 8. 8 times 5 is 40. 8 times 7 is 56 still. Plus 4 is still 60. 8 times 2 is 16. Plus 6, 22. 8 times 1 is 8. Plus 2 is 11. Add that all up. 0, 0, 7, 11, 2, 1. So, move my decimal over 3 places, and I get 121.7. Now I can subtract all that. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I made that goof. Now let's see if I get an answer that seems more reasonable. Okay, still have to borrow. Set of 5. 5 decimals lined up because I'm subtracting. Uh-oh, I think I made another error somewhere. I'm getting 105. Okay. What did I do wrong? Okay, I'm going to set this 105.5 aside. Oh, and the 16.15 aside. I'm just going to check my math on both of those. This is good. This is good. This is what we want. We want to double check our work. Okay. So 4.25 I know is the length from here to here. So I'm checking this answer right now. From here to here, let's see, 5 plus 3 is 8, and then 0.8. Yes, that should be 3.8. Double check my math. 8 times 5 is 40. 8 times 2 is 16. Plus 4 is 20. 8 times 4 is 32. Plus 2 is 34. 3 times 5 is 15. 3 times 2 is 6. Plus 1 is 7. And that's 12. Okay, so it looks like that number's fine. Unless, of course, you caught an error that I made just now. Okay, now let me double check this area. 8.8 times 12.75. Eight times 5 is 40. 8 times 7 is 56. Plus 4 is 60, yes. 8 times 2 is 16. Plus 6 is 22. 8 times 1 is 8. Plus 2 is 10. Kiss that 8 goodbye. 0 placeholder. 8 times 5 is 40. Carrying my 4. 8 times 7 is 56. Plus 4 is 60. 8 times 2 is 16. Plus 6 is 22. 8 times 1 is 8. Plus 2 is 10. 0, 0, 2, 2, 1, 1. There's my error. I got the wrong number for this. So then I move my decimal over 3. I get 112.2 now. That should, there we go. So my error was in the second multiplication. You probably saw exactly where it was. It took me a little bit longer, but I still found it. That's the point. We want to make sure we are accurate, and we all make mistakes. That's why we check our work. So now I subtract these. Let's see if I'm good now. Yeah, this is already looking better. There we go. 96.05 meters squared. So you probably caught my mistake as soon as I made it. It took me a little bit longer, but I did catch it. I did catch it and I did fix it. And that's how we learn, right? We double check. We all make little mathematical errors here and there, but if we double check, we can always end up with the correct answer. So good thing I double checked there. All right, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.